Hi, everyone. I'm a minute and a half or so early, trying to make sure internet connection is good. I think we have a little bit more reliable service now. While we wait for the top of the hour, if you're here with me live, you can let me know you're here through the chat. You can gather what you'll need for support for a little bit of arm moving and breathing practice together. I hope the sound is coming through good. You could let me know that in the chat if it's not. Support in terms of listening for a few minutes, in terms of gentle movement practice for a few minutes, maybe a moral support of a pet nearby. Who wants pets? Hi, everyone. I am aLex Levin. Rocky, my dog, is with me today as well. So happy to be here as always with you, Sundays Eastern Time, 10 o'clock, through Sun and Moon Yoga Studios portal in Arlington and Fairfax, Northern Virginia. So either get what you need, or maybe you've already gathered it for a little bit of movement practice, some meditation. We'll start with me sharing my thoughts for a theme that helps us with our commitment to our practice. I hope you're doing well today. Many of you join me at a later time. So happy that you do. It's community is powerful for me. I've been involved in the Sun and Moon community for 20, almost 26 years now. And while the only class I'm doing is this one, right, this nowadays, and it's a really important community supporting my life, my practice. So I've kind of been on this role of letting go. There's so many ways that practice in yoga and some of the other Eastern and spiritual arts is about letting go. In the 12-step program, I think it comes from this, but maybe precedes it. Let go and let God. Last week, I was going to chant for you because I mentioned the liberation mantra, moksha mantra, and maybe if I feel my voice is ready for it, I'll do that for you at the end. But that is about the ultimate letting go into death, and the death that is how is it termed? To die before we die is a way of being more liberated in our life, of having more freedom. And I am personally, in my personal life, dealing with some very tangible aspects of that, but very much wrapped into deep emotional roots of a half a basement full of things, not quite that much, but about 10 boxes, not even that much, maybe about 5 boxes worth of things that are my parents, that are letters and postcards and precious, precious things that actually I need to get rid of real quick because we have some a toxicity problem down there. So a very root chakra kind of thing, isn't it? The basement. And some of my friends and colleagues are helping me sift through what is um, that grip of my identity on needing to hold on to these things, or there's a thrill in going through these boxes, and like 99% of the stuff is not that precious, maybe 95, but then I find these things that are so exciting, and what to clutter up my other spaces with. So on but on our path to more freedom, on our path to less burden around our heart, around our the psyche of our relationships, and the baggage we carry, the identity that we're holding on to, and that we may find ourselves, I often mention, in patterns with our dearest ones where we come into conflict. And I'm finding that a lot of that is because of my own grip on how I see something and how I think it upholds an idea of who I am, and my value of who I am. So this liberation mantra, moksha mantra, um, it's it starts off, the first line might be translated, we worship Shiva, who is might be thought of as our inner self, our higher self, our but also he this Indian yogic God is always some aspect of ourself, but he is thought of as the destroyer, Shiva the destroyer. And the destroyer in a way that helps us to get rid of that which is holding us down, or preventing us from having the fullness of what is here right now. And when we can open into the fullness of what's here right now, if we can let go, and it takes really time. It takes time practicing being in the stillness, in the space of I don't know, or in the space of what would it be like to let go of that letter, or this idea of myself, this way that I've been for so long. What would it be like to do that, to let go, and to this practice, so our practice in mini movement in just a moment will be a breathing in and lifting our arms up. And if you could do this sitting in a chair or lying down, breathing in and lifting our arms up, pausing up there a moment. There's one pause, a little more effortful pause. Breathing out, bringing our arms down. And as we bring our arms down, feeling our hands on our lap or on the ground, we will pause there. This is the letting go that we will tangibly experience in our breath, inside our body, in the many nerve endings, the many we have in our hands with the ground or our body. And I want to share one more little everyday anecdote. I had some dispute with a new service we've taken on. Of the price was really almost 3 times higher than what I thought it was gonna be, and I would settle for, at least for the first month, and I was gonna settle for a 2 times higher, but I've spent quite a bit of time trying to connect with customer service. When I did get my final battle with that, um, to try to put my case forward that it was not represented as such, the person, after she completely listened with full listening, she didn't interrupt me, and when she did, apparently read from a script, quite obviously, which is a part of me maybe just says, "Oh, it's just a script they have to read." But it was really powerful. There was something, the first thing she starts with saying is validating, um, mm, kind of repeating and empathizing with the frustration and the disillusionment that I felt. And then she said she will do everything in her power to, something like, make sure at the end of this call that I have a smile on my face. And she did make good on it, actually. So that's kind of an important part. The first part is she really met me where I was. And that phrase, when I first learned it in our yoga teachings from my dear Mr. Desikachar, who I met in person. I don't know him very personally, but I had several opportunities to study with him. He That was one of his phrases, and many teachers talk about meeting us where we are. And the and that has a lot, like so many teachings that can be captured in a short phrase, that has so much more depth when we actually live it. And how cool that this business practice of customer service, as Eric Schiffman says, that life often imitates truth, like our daily life, uh, like technology is imitating truths we get to learn. Um, so that practice, that's really amazing that this business practice, which they're trying to keep me as a happy customer, um, is is an opportunity as a teaching. So you might not be in the customer service business, but in a sense, you're a customer service representative to yourself. You're a customer representative. We're in relationship to others and how we are, and to be able to meet others, to let go of our own agenda for quite a bit, to really, really, truly see what is happening here, what's happening with the other is a real way of a fullness of life and leading toward the letting go of what's not needed and not serving us. So let's begin a little bit of practice. Got my timer of movement, the movement that helps us get more comfortable into our stillness. And so you may find wherever you are, oh, I don't have my knee support, wherever you find that when we complete these few minutes of moving, and you might find that the energy, the shift, the mental shift that brings us to a quieter brain state, the physical shift that kind of calms the whole nervous system to be more present right here, that we will just take that's a perfect transition, a perfect segue into our stillness practice. So there will be a little bit of stillness at the top of the in breath, at the base, bottom of the out breath, and we'll get tastes of it there. And it's just amazing uh, how powerfully this simple practice can work to regulate our nervous system from uh, either even an agitated state, but more a more active state. And all these are different kinds of brain waves, and to a quieter, perhaps more receptive, more yin, more open, more receptive, more closely mirroring that truth of ourself that is boundless, unchanging, that gets to perceive the changing. All right, ready? Breathing in, arms lift, and we feel the entire body. We feel the ground, as well as when we out breath in the whole part of this movement and breathing. We can become especially aware of the feel of our body on the ground. Feel the verticality when the arms come up. As we breathe out, arms coming down. And just let that pause after the out breath be easy, but a little bit extended as it's possible. If you need to speed up the breath at any point, please do. If your head chooses to look upward with the upward movement and downward with the downward movement, that's fine. Let the feel of your breath guide you. So you'll feel when there's space to take more time. You'll feel the smoothness of it, the harmony of all parts of yourself. And in fact, when you now exhale, you might bring some sound into the exhale. Could be a ha sound, could be a M sound, could be ma, ra, pa, sha. Sha is very peaceful. Sha. The root of words such as shanti, shalom, meaning imitating sound. If you'd like, can make this movement into a little bit of side bends, a little bit of twisting. Just keep that pause at the end of the exhale. A stillness, an openness. And after a few more rounds of breath, or maybe after this one, just land where you are. Let yourself segue to the stillness. And in this stillness, we can make this commitment that I kind of skipped over in the beginning. Would have been useful to start with the ground sound breath, or however it is you oil the gate, as Christine says, to come right into the present, this doorway, this gateless gate, as the Zen practitioners say. We sense the way gravity holds us steady, supports us. And we can sense that through the touch of the body to the ground, the textures, the temperature. Our nerves are taking all this in and reporting it directly so quickly. And it's so true. It gives us a real barometer, a measure of truth. There is an equal and opposing force once we feel that downward pull of gravity. There's a levity coming up. There's an awareness of the space around us, and you can enter that through sound very readily. And so we'll begin our meditation of about 8 minutes. Ground space around sound, sound, breath, ground, breath, space around, sound and space around are one. Breath we worked with, and you can use that easily if you feel that you get disoriented or distracted or pulled away from your open focus. Any bit of adjustments that you need to make uh, in your posture, whether it's lying down, sitting in a chair, standing, you can attend to those now and also just monitor, like lightly monitor throughout that the movements that might be needed are so infinitesimal, they almost might just be thought of as attitudes um, or little shifts of the breath, very deep internal shifts. But primarily, we are simply still, silent, and available. Eyes might be closed, or they may be just barely open, gazing downward at the ground in front of you without tipping the head forward. As visitors, thoughts, sensations come to request your attention, just an internal, a metaphorical nod of acknowledgement. I just thought of a friend who's going through quite a bit of physical suffering, and just a little nod of like a little tiny prayer can be enough to just touch and let it go, like you pop a soap bubble. Not to dismiss it, but to um, acknowledge and to come back to what is our purpose here now. If you really feel lost away from being able to quote unquote do the practice right, you can follow 3 breaths, counting them. That might get you back, or you can repeatedly do that. Just lightly without losing sense of availability. One more breath. And then I invite you to listen as I chant humbly this liberation moksha mantra that points to checking into what is bigger than ourself. You might call it God, you might call it your higher self, um, the absolute. And we might call on that when we don't know where to go, we've lost our way, or something is overwhelming. And it is our own. It's from a depth of ourself and the connection to this source that might help us be more patient, help us relax and open to the rhythm of things that is way beyond the rhythm of our own individual life, and has a way of unfolding in time, even when things look very dire. Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukamiva Bandhanam Mrityor Mokshiyamamrita. Om. And there's a particular feel to stillness, a particular way that we become more and more familiar with this allness available to us all the time because it is us, ourself. So wishing you well in your practice this week, formal practices like this one and others in our daily living, customer service practices like or in your relationships to all that you do and have. Thanks for being here with me, and do check out our Sun and Moon Studio, sunandmoonstudio.com website will tell you more about this community and all the offerings we have that you might like to participate in. Ciao, ciao. See you next time.